Namaste, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I am Deepa, your host and a member of the 84,000 team. I'm honored to welcome you to this special teachings on Sutra session in celebration of Chökhor Düchen, commemorating the Buddha's first turning of the wheel of Dharma. Today's event offers interpretation in Chinese, Portuguese, Spanish, Russian, and Vietnamese. Please click the globe icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen to select your preferred language. We'll pause for around 30 seconds to do that. Okay. So today we are honored to welcome Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul. Geshe-la will speak on the wisdom of traverse beyond the prison of one's own mind. Geshe-la has served as director of Tibet House in New Delhi since 2011. He earned his PhD degree from Drepung Losling Monastic University in 2002 after extensive formal studies in Buddhist philosophy. He is a respected editor and co author of many scientific, philosophical, Buddhist, and secular books used worldwide for studying Buddhist philosophy, metaphysics, epistemology, and science. Geshe-la's deep understanding of science and his engagement with renowned physicists allow him to teach Buddhist philosophy with a modern perspective that resonates with many students. Today, Geshe-la will share insights based on Tohoku 100, the ornament of the light of awareness that enters the domain of all Buddhas, translated by 84,000. A link to the translated text is available in the comment box for you all to download or read later. Before we begin, let us all recite the aspiration prayer for 84,000 together. May there never be a time as peace, harmony, sanity, and the well being of this earth and its inhabitants are now so endangered. May there never be a time when the world's media, school textbooks, and daily conversations stop using words like generosity, patience, and loving kindness, and when the meaning of such words is lost. As we fear the darkest hour of this dark age, may there never be a time when words like impermanence, anitya, unsatisfactoriness, dukkha, selflessness, anatma, dependent arising, pratitya samutpada, illusion, maya, and emptiness, shunyata, cease to exist, and when their meaning is lost. May the endeavors of the translators and editors plant the seed of the Dharma in all directions. May the efforts of the patrons and administrators nurture and strengthen the shoot of the Dharma at all times. May the noble aspirations of this endeavor maintain and propagate the precious Dharma far and wide. This prayer was composed by Brahma Pushpa in India in June 2020. Thank you all for reciting the aspiration prayer together. Now let us invite Geshe-la to begin the teachings.
Devaji, thank you so much. And all the viewers, it's a great joy for me to be with all of you here, and particularly on the occasion, the eve of the Buddha's turning the wheel of Dharma. And before we do the teaching session, I'm just wondering if our IT staff here will do the text sharing of a quick prayer to be said before the session. Gokul re, page 3. On there. Okay, we will say the prayers together. And as indicated by Debaji, yes, the 84,000, the translation project headed by, I think we can, the Giant Kinshuk, the Khyentse Rinpoche, and that the many translators involved and the editors involved. It's been many years of project. It's a huge project, and so many people have benefited of this. And I constantly recommend English dependent, the Dharma aspirants, to always refer to the 84,000 translation and to make the maximum advantage of the texts translated with the effort of the 84,000 translation team. And as indicated, as read by Antibaji in the short prayer, that let us pray for the long life of Khyentse Rinpoche and also the long life of all the people, not only the translators and the editors, but also the other people who are involved there, like the director, Jinri, and her team. It's a great inspiration to see that. Particularly, I remember Jinri, since her very young age, took the responsibility of this many years ago. She's still very young, but just imagine like 10, 15 years ago that she took the more than 15 years, I think about like perhaps 17 or 18 years that this project was launched, and she took the initiative as a very extremely young age, and yes, taking the huge responsibility. And that manner in which she was taking the responsibility, I could just see that through my interaction with her. I can see that extremely the visionary, courageous, and charismatic. That's amazing. So likewise, all the members in her team and the group of the translators. There are so many translators involved, and the editors, and all this coming under the vision of Khyentse Rinpoche. That's something extremely, greatly a visionary task, and for the benefit of great service to the Buddha Dharma and for all the demonstration beings. So with this mind, let's recite the following verses together, visualizing the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us, and your own teachers, as so loving, caring, and embracing. And for the Buddhist field, visualize your two parents. And some of us may have complication with our parents. It doesn't matter. So the very purpose of our being exposed to the Buddha's teachings is to transcend the ordinary people's thinking. And what is ordinary? Ordinary people, the moment you have a little conflict, then you tend to hate the person. So this is how usually people tend to have a very bad relationship with their parents, particularly the modern the ones with the modern education. But never mind. The thing is that we are into dharma, being with dharma itself. Unless one has a great merit, it's not possible. It's not possible that we can meet with such a precious dharma. Oh, particularly for those people who are connected with the 84,000 translations and people who are connected with the effort put in by the great team, the team of translators, editors, and so forth, edited by the Khyentse Rinpoche. So even to be connected, to take advantage of this great project, is possible only if you have great merit. So having great merit, the purpose is to transcend the ordinary people's thinking. And ordinary people's thinking, what made them ordinary is because for small conflicts, they tend to have conflict or friction. And the outcome of that is only tears. We tend to just end up into tears. So whereas to transcend the ordinary people's thinking, meaning that we do things which ordinary people cannot do. Ordinary people cannot really remain calm and cool in the wake of the factors for friction. And because of being able to maintain the calmness and the cool in such a situation, then the outcome is that your tears stop. This is the greatest benefit for us. And even for the reason, the ordinary people, why they tend to have conflict, fight, friction, so forth, is thinking that that is a factor of bringing tears in me. It's the opposite. By doing so, you are creating more, you're attracting more tears. So for the Bodhisattva field, let us visualize your two parents and all your their family members, including children, and all their mother sentient beings living on a side. And the purpose of this practice, purpose of this class together, is to awaken the seat of perfection within us, seat of the hidden treasure within us. Each one of us, no matter who you are, whether you're male, female, it doesn't matter. Whether you are from this geographical location or that geographical location, there is no difference. We all have the hidden treasure. Whatever religion that you are from, we all have the hidden treasure of full awakening, the fearlessness and infinite happiness. And just imagine that this treasure, whether awakened or not awakened, nobody's responsible, only yourself. The wise people, those people who preferred and awaken this seed of perfection within us, the hidden treasure within us, those are wise people, those people who always look for outside, externally to look for the happiness. These are the unwise people. And majority, unfortunately, as Charles Darwin indicated, 19th century great, the biologist, indicated the majority of the people, 99.9% of the people, including the human beings, animals, insects, they only look for external factors meant to curb the miseries, the tears, and so forth, and to experience the fearless and infinite happiness. But on the contrary, it only attracts more miseries and more tears, endless tears and pains. So our job is to awaken the internal hidden treasure, awaken on which that true joy and happiness dawn in us, and that your fears will come to an end, and the tears come to an end. You experience what the Buddha indicated as transcending sorrow is absolute peace. So with this mind, imagine that you are leading this practice and all beings are joining us. And choose by great compassion, you taught immaculate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And choose by great compassion, you taught immaculate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And choose by great compassion, you taught immaculate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the Supreme Among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is afraid of elaborations. I prostrate. So this verse, the verse that we just read, that is the essence of the text which we are studying, the sutra which we are studying. And the next following verse is by Arya. The first one was by Arya Nagarjuna, and the second verse which we are reading now, this is by Arya Maitreya. This forms the quintessence, the essence of the Buddha's teachings on the complete Bodhisattva path. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacification, complete peace, which through the knowledge of past causes also helping by greatest achieve aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue basic expounded varieties of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teachers who guard and protect her, to hear my prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. And this mantra is extremely, extremely precious. And the Buddha taught this mantra in the 33, the God realm, and also taught many times on planet Earth. And the Buddha indicated the preciousness, the depth of the preciousness of this mantra. And if we can contemplate on this, the basic framework of the Buddha's teachings, which is the law of karma, is indicated here. And on that basis, by gaining conviction law of karma, how our miseries they happen and how to undo the miseries accordingly. This is what is being taught here in this one verse by the Buddha. So let's say the meaning first in English, followed by the mantra recitation. And those of us who can who know how to recite this will chant this with me, and those who don't know how to chant it, just listen to us and join us. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the tathagatha. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the grace here. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramana yesvaha. Om ye dharamam hetu prabhavam tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramana yesvaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodham evam vati mahashramana yesvaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagatha. The cessation causes as well as taught by the grace here. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-light, and non-composite. Such is the nectar Dharma I have discovered. Wanting no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to words. Beyond our twin's thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space, is the object of apprehension and self-realized to wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, I bear obeisance. Forces of Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are suffering nature. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and keep teachings until the end of the expansive billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. Instructions on parting from the four attachments. If you're attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there's grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, let's turn to page 30, 20, Heart Sutra Mantra, which page 29. Twenty-nine. 29. Go down. The mantra. Still go down. Keep scrolling. Thank you. Let us recite this mantra together 5 times. And as we recite this, the manner in which we recite, of course, we need to first of all understand the meaning of this text, which we're going to study, the Sutra, which we are studying, is about how we need to wake up from the sleep of ignorance, and ignorance being the root of the miseries. And to eradicate this ignorance, the measure or the means by which to eradicate this ignorance is by waking up. And how to wake up? Wake up in 5 stages, known as Gade, Gade, Para, Gade, Para, Samgade, Bodhisattva, indicating the 5 paths. And of course, we need to study what these 5 paths are and how one's mind should be awakened in these 5 stages. And as we recite this mantra, it's not to be expected that, okay, I'll have something miracle happen. My business will turn out to be successful by reciting this mantra. So for that is the wrong motivation. Instead, the motivation should be to awaken our mind in 5 steps so that we will stop the tears, the pains of yourself, and help to stop the pains in others. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisattvas Tyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhisattvas Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gate Bodhisattvas Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gate Bodhisattvas Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gate Bodhisattvas. Okay. Today is the day the Buddha Shakyamuni turned the first wheel of the Dharma. And as the history has it, that the 2,500 years ago, a Prince Siddhartha, motivated by altruism, as indicated by the great Indian master Acharya Diknaga in his text Brahmana Samuchaya, that the one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, do you make frustrations. So this is about the true biography of the Buddha, that how he left the palace for what? Motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. He witnessed so much of wars happening in those days where the innocent people, so many innocent people, they're being killed. And the children, they're left as orphans. And the people are left as widows. Extremely unfortunate things happen. And this is what he noticed. Also, he saw the injustices, bullies everywhere, hunger, thirst, so much of pains that he would notice. So, driven by this great altruism, compassionate attitude, then he finally realized that what can I do? If I remain in the palace like this, then what will I become? At the most, I can become become the next king. And what can a king do? Look at my father. He's already king, but he could not save the world. So I had to do something which is revolutionary, which is something different from what my father did. So in other words, look for alternative ways to save the world, to help the world from the going through all these unnecessary problems. So, but he left and choose by great compassion, the compassion to help all demonstration beings. What he did, he's left the palace to look for an alternative path. And the alternative path that the of course, he had to learn it from somebody. So he first sought the help of the first teacher, Acharya Alara Kalam, and who actually reached or who actually attained the meditative experience. And okay, Geshe-la. Then then Acharya, Acharya Alara Kalam, who reached the meditative experience, what is known as the vacuity of the formless realm. And Prince Siddharth, he reached the same level very soon. And he requested for more teachings. Again, the teacher said that you already attained everything. There's nothing more left for you to learn. And Prince Siddharth said, I came here to look for the solution to help all the world. And still, I see that I'm yet to have this potential or the capability to benefit the beings. Then he went in search of another teacher. He met with the second teacher, Acharya Udrega. And again, within a short span of time, this Acharya Udrega, his meditative realization was that of what is known as the peak of existence, the ultimate. They say, keeping aside the wisdom of emptiness, bodhicitta, with particularly in the context of the single point meditation. Single point meditation, that is highest level, peak of existence. In Tibetan, it is known as sise. And this Acharya Udrika, he reached that level. And again, the Prince Siddharth, later to become Buddha Shakyamuni, he reached the same level very soon and requested for more teachings. Yes, of course. And for the second teacher, if not for emptiness or for bodhicitta, then there's nothing more to learn. That's the peak. And he said that you have attained everything, and now you have nothing to learn. And all my teachers, all my students are your students. Help them, and they stay with us. And Prince Siddharth again left, and then he said for 6 years of the practice, and finally he found what is known as the wisdom of emptiness, which is the core, the essence, quintessence of the text which we're studying today. So he found this, and then to experiment whether or not to see the efficacy of this path of the wisdom of emptiness, the ways it means to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. He experimented on that himself, and he discovered. Then what happened is that all he's like the iceberg. Iceberg. Just imagine Arctic Circle 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. Just imagine the Arctic Circle. What is that like? The iceberg there, anybody, the science, of course, 5,000 years ago, no scientists, meaning no, the today's concept of the global warming and so forth were totally absent in those days. If somebody over there, some intelligent person would be there, would say that this iceberg is so stable, you can stack things up. You can, if there's a possibility for you to construct the houses or buildings, you can just stack the stories after stories after stories, because the iceberg, the base is so strong. Imagine 5,000 years later, today, now the global warming, icebergs are melting. Iceberg, which is foundation, once it melts, whatever is stacked on top of this iceberg will automatically crumble down. So likewise, self-grasping ignorance ignorance which is seen as the iceberg, as the foundation, on top of which inappropriate tension, afflictions, contaminated karmas, and the miseries, they're all stacked up. Automatically, as the iceberg of the ignorance melts by the wisdom of awakening, all what is stacked on top of this will crumble down on their own. So this is what Prince Siddhartha, he did to experiment it on himself to see the efficacy of this wisdom. And to his realization, he realized that with this wisdom, the iceberg of the ignorance dissolves. And then everything stacked on top of this, as I indicated earlier, inappropriate tension, afflictions, and all the miseries, 3 kinds of miseries, they all crumble down, they all dissolve. One experience what is known as the ultimate purity, the bliss of the purity. This is known as the Sugata. He experienced the Sugatahood. So the teacher, the Sugata, and protector. With that is experience of the Sugatahood himself, then he went to share, protect the beings by sharing this wisdom of the awakening. So this is the core of what we are reading today. And today, it also coincides with the 90th birth anniversary of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. As you already know, the whole world, everywhere in the world, perhaps His Holiness is only one whose birthday is celebrated everywhere in the world every year, and particularly this year, commemorating the 90th birth anniversary. So everywhere the world is the commemorating this day and the praying for His Holiness's the healthy and long life for the benefit of the whole world. So as a part of this, we are studying this text, and the Jingwei made this request long time ago, and also further followed up by the Ushnisha. So with this, of course, the text is so long. It is about like 35 pages, and text is extremely the very sophisticated text, so precious text. And of course, it's not that easy that each one of us, we are going through like a chronic disease of the self-grasping ignorance, which is like the iceberg to hold the samsara of hold the samsara of the tears, the pains, the tears of samsara, so intact. And then this self-grasping ignorance, which is like the magnet of samsara, that is like a chronic disease within us. And to get rid of this, we need to resort to a very powerful remedy. What is the remedy? The remedy is the wisdom. And the Buddha very clearly indicated that on the 4 seals, all composite things are impermanent. And the prayer of the 84,000, the translation team prayer, where it says that may these words, let alone the meanings, even the words, be constantly heard, read, and said by the people all over, the beings all over. The impermanence, anicca, suffering, dukkha, selflessness, anatta or anatman. So, and the impermanence and the suffering and dukkha and the impurities. So particularly in the context of Theravada, in the common parlance of Theravada and the Mahayana teaching, or the Chinese and Tibetan, or in other words, the Pali-based Buddhist the teachings and the Sanskrit language-based Buddhist teachings, the common ground is these 3 points: anicca, dukkha, and anatman or anatta. So on these are the things which the Buddha taught in the form of what is known as the 4 seals of the Buddha's teachings. All composite things impermanent, anicca. All contaminated things are suffering nature. The dukkha, and everything is the nature of the empty selflessness, which is the anatta or anatman. So, with this in mind, we need to really get there. The main reason why the Buddha appeared on the planet Earth is twofold. One is for us to wake up from the sleep of ignorance, number 1. Number 2, to share this wisdom, just as you love your family members so much. The core, the true nature of your mind is so beautiful. true nature of your mind, true nature of my mind, true nature of the worst of the criminals, the true nature of the enlightened masters, the true nature of the mind is just identically the same with everyone. So that is so pure. It's so embracing. It's so pervasive. It embraces everyone. So this is something which we need to remember. So with this in mind, how to awaken this? But this is like a diamond. The diamond, just let's compare the two diamonds. One diamond you see in the dish, and the other diamond you see in the showroom. And for the ordinary people, the diamond in the showroom is more precious in the comparison with the diamond in the dish. But whereas for the diamond experts, diamond in the dish is as precious as the one in the showroom. And he picks up the diamond from the dish, cleanses it, and put it in the showroom, it becomes a showroom diamond. So this is exactly the difference between us, the ordinary beings, and the enlightened masters like the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness, and so forth. So having said this, our job is, wow, this is amazing. This is such a great hope for us that no matter how hopeless we seem to be like, but the reality is that we are like the diamond, although it is in a ditch. But if we are able to pick it up, cleanse it, and place it there in showroom, it becomes a showroom diamond. So where you can benefit so many people. The mere sight of your presence gives such a joy and healing in the minds of the beings. So with this in mind, next question is how to cleanse the mind of this mental defilement. And of course, the text which we are reading today, that is extremely condensed, and this is a core teaching us how to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. And at the same time, to reach that level is like doing PhD program. For that, we have to do the undergraduate program first. Before that, we have to do the school. Before that, we do the kindergarten, the nursery. And then nursery, kindergarten, then the school, junior school, high school, then the college, undergrad, postgrad, and then PhD, and then possible postdoc. This is how we have to proceed. Likewise, contemplating on impermanence, contemplating on the subtle nature of samsara. So these are so important for us. Only then we can think of the dealing with the waking up from sleep of ignorance. But let us not wait till our realization becomes so profound, to the extent that we realize the impermanence, we realize the dukkha nature so well. So if we wait till that point to grab at the emptiness concept, then we never know whether we will succeed in this life. But while we contemplate, for example, like while the parents send the child to school, the parents also think of investing for the child's the PhD programs, investing money in the bank for the child's the future studies. So two are done in parallel. From the child's side, you don't have to really worry about the PhD program. Parents are doing this part to invest money, but you have to walk the path. So we have to have two plans. One is the immediate plan, other one is a long-term plan. Immediate plan is work on, say, the anicca, impermanence, work on suffering, and so forth. And then more importantly, if you can contemplate based on what Nagarjuna indicated as in his text, Mool Madhyamaka Karika, the fundamental wisdom of the middle way. So where Nagarjuna taught, ceasing of karma's afflictions is nirvana. Karma's afflictions arise from conceptualization and inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and the ignorance ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. So as indicated, our job, your job, my job, each one of us, our job is to first try to mitigate the power of our contaminated actions, season karmas, contaminated actions. For example, like the non-virtuous actions, 3 physical, 4 verbal, and 3 mental. Try to put effort in getting rid of these non-virtuous karmas, number one. And then meanwhile, also put effort to stop our, say, the gross afflictions, such as the gross attachment, greed, anger, jealousy, and so forth. And then think of undermining the inappropriate attention, exaggerating the qualities of the objects as extremely good or extremely bad. And then finally, only by curbing the power of the gross mental states, negativities, then we will get to the core, the ignorance. How to get rid of this ignorance? By waking up from the sleep of ignorance. So how to wake up from the sleep of ignorance? And yes, of course, this text is an extremely profound text, and you'll be amazed that the Buddha presided over the gathering, and then all the Bodhisattvas were there, like it said, like the 25,000 the audience, people were there in the audience, and then the quintillion of the beings were there, the human beings, non-human beings, so forth. And just imagine what the Buddha was going to teach. And all the Bodhisattvas, they were turning their head to Manjushri to ask to start the conversation, to start to make the request to the Buddha to turn the Viruttama, to give the teachings. And Manjushri did ask a question to the Buddha, asked, what is it, say, for example, the whole universe is operating based on what is known as arising and ceasing. Whole universe is working based on arising and ceasing. For example, let's say, okay, this morning, today a new day arose and yesterday ceased. And say, for example, okay, my happy birthday. What is your birthday? Okay, now I'm celebrating another year for me, and my old days pass. A new year came for me. So likewise, okay, new president, new prime minister, and so forth. We are so excited. New regime, and so forth. We are so excited. So here, arising and ceasing, the whole world is operating based on arising and ceasing. And the whole universe is operating based on the dependent origination of the results and dependence on the causes. So cause effect, dependent origination. That is how the whole universe is operating. Law of karma is operating based on the cause and effect, arising of the results and the ceasing of the causes, arising and ceasing. These two are the phenomena which govern the whole universe. As such, when we see that these two principles which govern the whole universe are seen like a dream, then you automatically tend to see the whole universe like a dream. When you see the dream as dream, when do you see the dream as dream? It never occurred in the dream. It happened when you wake up. So seeing the dream as dream happens when you wake up. So this is the meaning of the waking up. So we need to wake up to get rid of the ignorance, the darkness, the ignorance of the sleep, of the sleep. So with this in mind, we're going to read the text now. Okay, so first we read 1.1. By the way, okay. First, can we go a little up to read the title of the text? Okay, we go to listen. The Noble Mahayana Sutra, the ornament of the light of awareness that enters the domain of all Buddhas. The light of awareness of the reality which is seen by all the Buddhas. And the ornament is like what one decorates. For example, you have a beautiful house and the house is decorated by the decorating items. Likewise, the reality and the tatha or the suchness, the reality which all Buddhas sees directly. So this is awareness we need to create, and the awakening of which you become a Buddha, awakening of which cleanses is the meaning of cleansing our diamond-like Buddha-ness within, and that you become the Buddha. So this is the meaning. In other words, here, and the Buddha directly taught how to awaken our mind so that the mental defilements are removed completely and the diamond-like Buddha energy within us will be awakened fully. So with this mind, let's read 1.1. So this is how it began. And we cannot read whole the text. I'm going to just give a summary of each one of many of these passages. The first, homage to the Buddha. Thus did I hear at one time. So this line is so important for many of us who are not exposed to the technical studies in the Tibetan language. You may be wondering, what is this homage, the thus did I hear at one time? This is to indicate the authenticity of this text, authenticity of the text, and the saying that the compiler. So because at the time of the Buddha, the teachings were not being recorded in the textual form. So instead, they were being the great enlightenment masters who have the power of what is known as the photographic memory, where they can retain on these the teachings by heart and pass down to the next generation orally. So which means that these teachings, there's every danger that these teachings can be adulterated. To make sure that it's not adulterated, it says that thus did I hear at one time, which means that the compiler is saying that I'm not adding anything, I'm not deleting anything, it's just as what I heard at that time. So this tells us the authenticity of this teaching. The Bhagavat, the Buddha was dwelling on the Vulture Peak mountain Rajgir. So those of us who are meritorious to go to the Vulture's Peak, Nalanda, Rajgir, we really need to think of this, because that Vulture's Peak, usually we associate Vulture's Peak with the Heart Sutra. Yes, Heart Sutra teaching happened in Vulture's Peak, but there are many more, so many teachings will be given in the Vulture's Peak. So, for example, here, even this text was also what was taught there on Vulture's Peak. The Bhagavad was dwelling on the Vulture Peak mountain Rajgir, on a summit of infinite gems, in the womb of Dharmadhatu Palace, together with a great assembly of 25,000 monks. All of them were arhats, were exhausted their outflows. Exhausted meaning that the contaminated actions, outflow of the contaminated actions, contaminated thoughts, they were all starved. They were without afflictions and controlled. Their minds were perfectly liberated, and their wisdom was perfectly free. They are knowledgeable, great elephants who had accomplished what needed to be done. They had laid down their burden and fulfilled their own benefit. They destroyed the bonds of existence, and thanks to the correct knowledge, their minds were perfectly liberated. They obtained supreme perfection in mastering all mental states, the 68 great hearers, headed by Asnata Gondania were also there. Okay, so with this, then this is about those you find as particularly amongst the arhats, Shravakas, Brahma Buddha arhats, who surrounded the Buddha. And then added to that, the Bodhisattvas. Moreover, present with the Bhagavad were 72 quintillion. Quintillion is these 1 into 10 to the power 18. That is the number, is a huge number with the 18 zeros. 1 million has six zeros, and quintillion has 18 zeros. The Bodhisattvas, such as youthful Manjushri, Dhanashri, Buddhashri, Vaishya the Vaishya Samudgata. All of them were turning the Dharma wheel that does not turn back. They were skilled in inquiring about so this is creating a scenario where the Buddha presided and Buddha surrounded by all these, the Shravakas and the Bodhisattvas. Okay, so let's continue just reading this paragraph, then we'll jump to the other points. Fourth line of the same point. They were skilled in inquiring about the Vaipulya Sutras of the Heap of Jewels and had obtained the level called Cloud of Dharma. In terms of cloud of Dharma is the mental quality of the, when you attain the higher levels of the bhumis, Chugitin in Tibetan. In terms of wisdom, they were like Sumeru, and all of them had thoroughly cultivated the dhammas of emptiness, no signs, no wish, no arising, no birth, and no existence. Okay, so emptiness, signlessness, no sign, signlessness, and no wish, wishlessness. These three things, oftentimes these three things go together. These two things are being taught together. For example, say, just as we said, that the whole universe is operating based on the phenomena of arising and ceasing. Likewise, when we talk about the dreamlike nature, we talk about the illusion-like nature of phenomena, the phenomena with whatever we interact with, the phenomena with that we interact with, particularly the phenomena of the composite nature that we interact with. For example, let's say that, okay, I want a new car. So this car has a cause, the car itself, and its result. There are three things. So with all the composite phenomena with which we interact, we see that it has three elements attached. One, the object, and cause of the object, and the effect of the object. The three things are attached there. So if you're able to see the dreamlike nature of these three things, then this, you will leave no composite phenomena the untouched of the understanding of emptiness. So in other words, understanding these three things, emptiness, signlessness, and wishlessness, it allows you to have it makes you have it suffices us understanding emptiness of all composite phenomena. So first, the emptiness refers to, let's say that, okay, I want a new car, or I want a new house, or I want a new mobile, new laptop, or let's say a new job, or whatever you may call it. So that object, say, dreamlike nature of that, we have so much a sense of affinity, and when you don't get it, there's so much of pain and the fear, anxiety, all associated with this. If you see the dreamlike nature of this, when you wake up, the one that you're aspiring, when you wake up, you see that, oh, this is just a dream. And your, say, the clinging to that stops, and all the expectations or the anxiety and stress associated with the object dissolves automatically. So this is where the emptiness of the object, then the cause of the object. We may say, oh, this object is empty, but there's a cause there. If the cause also like a dream. So that is the signlessness. Signlessness. The cause is empty. Emptiness of cause is referred to as the signlessness, and the emptiness of object is referred to as the emptiness, and the emptiness of the effect is referred to as the wishlessness. No wish, wishlessness. Because effect, we put effort expecting effect to arise. So the expectation, wish for the effect. So wishlessness is, even the effect is also like a dream. Your wish for the effect diminishes. Okay, now when you say wish for the effect diminishes, if this is a goal, then wish for Buddhahood. Wish for Buddhahood, which is Buddha nature. Even that should also cease. No. So this is where, if you understand emptiness, this is where we can see that our aspiration for you already have like to one car. Again, we're going for the second car, third car, fourth car, and so forth. This is the wish driven by selfishness, wish driven by self-grasping ignorance. Whereas if you have to travel every day for your work, and then oftentimes you're being late by depending on the public transportation, which is not too reliable. So you need to have a car. Yes, this is very practical. It is not necessarily related to self-grasping, self-centered attitude. It's very practical. So there are two things. One which is driven by the selfishness, one which is driven by self-grasping, ignorant selfishness, and the other driven by not driven by these two things, and if possible, driven by other cherishing, driven by compassion, driven by the wisdom. So there are two aspirations. One aspiration driven by the wisdom is to be encouraged. The desire to become Buddha. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. They're so precious. May I help all sentient beings. They're so precious, compassion is so precious. But the other side, which is very destructive, because the root is self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered energy. These are the distinctions that we need to make. Okay, so this is known as the wishlessness. Continue reading this. No sign, the dharmas of the emptiness, no sign, no wish, no arising, no birth, and no existence. The greatly profound dharma appear to them, and they had the postures of tathagatas. In other world spheres, they had been sent out by quintillions of tathagatas. All of them were fully clairvoyant and well settled in the essential nature of all dharmas. Okay, this is just the background created by the compiler of the text. Okay, now let us go to read 1.13. We just jump to 1.13. 1.13. Jump down. Tush. Thank you. Okay, so now the next scenario is created. At this, the Buddha arose from his previous seat and then sat down on the lion throne with his great jewel lotus inside. He sat with his legs crossed and observed the entire gathering of Bodhisattvas. Then to those Bodhisattvas, great beings, he signaled that he was about to deliver distinguished Dharma teaching. At that very time, the entire assembly of Bodhisattvas had the thought, the youthful Manjushri, and then now they're thinking of Manjushri should start the conversation, or should trigger this, should start to make the request to Buddha. The youthful Manjushri should now inquire of the Tathagata, the Arhat, the perfect and complete Buddha, about non-arising and non-cessation. So non-arising and non-cessation. The dreamlike nature of arising, dreamlike nature of cessation, arising and ceasing, which govern the whole universe, based on the principle of which the whole universe is operating. So if you see that these two are like dream, whole universe can be seen as a dream. Easier for us to see whole universe like a dream. We have not heard the Dharma teaching for a long time. 1.14, the youthful Manjushri. So Manjushri then raised the question to the Buddha. The youthful Manjushri had understood the Bhagavad signal, and he also knew that what the Bodhisattvas, great beings, were thinking. So he arose and adjusted his upper robe so that one shoulder was uncovered. He then knelt in front of the Bhagavad with his right knee placed on the center of a lotus. With joined palms, he then addressed this question to the Bhagavad. Bhagavad, or the Buddha, non-arising and non-cessations have been spoken of. Tathagata, to what dharma do the term non-arising and non-cessation refer? What does it mean by non-arising and non-cessation? Okay, for us, what we suggest is that we should be extremely clear. There should be clarity in our presentation, articulation and presentation. So Manjushri very directly inform non-arising and non-cessation. But for us, don't say that there's no arising, there's nothing existing. Never ever say that. What Manjushri is the inquiring is so profound in ways that for the ordinary people like us, we need a lot of background information. Background information is the twofold, because the whole discourse that we are studying here would make sense to us, would be meaningful to us, yes, so profound, meaningful to us, provided we get through the two gates. The first gate is, do things exist? If you don't get through these two gates, we're not entitled to understand what are the question asked by Manjushri and the response given by the Buddha, and you may easily fall into nihilism. So we have to get through these two gates to make sure that we are protected from falling into the two extremes. The first gate is, do things exist? And later on, the Buddha will also indicate the concept of dependent origination, where you say nothing exists, and full stop, not added to the concept of without the concept of dependent origination. Just say nothing exists. This purely nihilism. Now, how to say that? So here, Manjushri is asking the Buddha, what does it mean by non-arising? Non-arising meaning no arising and no cessation. We see arising, we see cessation. 2024, they ceased. There is ceasing, cessation. 2025 arose. There's arising. But then why this question asks non-arising and non-cessation? So therefore, to understand this context well, we need to pass through these two gates. First gate is, do things exist? Answer is, yes, of course, things exist. Arising, ceasing, everything exists. But then what about this non-arising, non-cessation? That is the second part. To the first question, do things exist? If the answer is no, you fall into nihilism. Now, whereas if you say yes, things exist, you are protected from falling to nihilism, you're entitled to go for this second gate. Second question is, do things exist objectively? Answer is no. This is the meaning of non-arising. No objective arising, no objective cessation. So when you say no objective cessation, implying that there is subjective cessation, there's subjective arising. So this distinction must be made. So with this in mind, say non-arising, non-cessation, do things exist? The first question. Answer should be yes. If you say no, the problem is you fall into nihilism. Only when you say yes to the first question, you have to go for the second question. Second question is, do things exist objectively? Answer is no. This is the meaning of no arising and no cessation. So with this in mind, whereas if you say yes, things exist objectively, you fall into absolutism. So once you get through these two gates so well, you're protected from falling into the two extremes. You're protected from falling to extremes, and avoiding two extremes is the following the middle way. Okay, so with this, only if your understanding is very clear that you're freed from the two extremes, you follow the middle way, only then you are entitled to follow the following the passages. Okay, with this in mind, we are reading we read 1.14. Next we go to 1.19. And what was just, I'm jumping not because that the others are useless. The thing is that we don't have much time, and I just picked up the points which, if you get all these things, you can easily relate even those passages which we left. Okay, 1.19, it says, this is the Buddha's response. It is as follows, Manjushri. Imagine that this wide earth were made entirely of beryl. Beryl is the gem, precious gem, a very clear precious gem, so that in that beryl one could see reflections of the abode, the 33. For, let's say, like the mirror, in the mirror, like a mirror, so the beryl like a crystal. In the crystal, you see all these reflections there. In the mirror, you see reflections. For example, say the babies, they come in from the big mirror. They thought that there's another baby there. Likewise, one time there was a monkey in my my house. Outside there was a monkey, and the glass pane, it was a tainted glass. So from outside, they cannot see me inside. So outside, they can see the reflection. And the monkey see his reflection. He was very upset. So what he did was that he was so upset, and he kicked the glass, and he left, thinking that there was another monkey there. So what I'm saying that, so this monkey thought that there was something inside. It's just a reflection. So likewise, the Buddha is indicating that everything is like a reflection, like a dream. So this is an extremely powerful metaphor the Buddha gave. So in other words, the Buddha indicated that all our miseries arise from ignorance of seeing the reflection as real, ignorance seeing things as objectively real. That is the worst of the ignorance. And to get rid of this ignorance, we have to, how to get rid of the ignorance of seeing the dream as real? Wake up. So the Buddha is teaching us how to wake up. So seeing the dream as dream happens in the dream or outside the dream. Let me repeat it. Seeing the dream, first let me see, seeing the dream as real happens in the dream or outside the dream. of course, in the dream. So seeing dream as real is ignorance or wisdom, is ignorance. And what's the outcome? Outcome is fear. Seeing the dream goes as real is ignorance, and outcome is fear. Seeing the dream goes as not real, seeing the dream goes as dream, happens in the dream or outside dream. It happens outside dream. Seeing the dream goes as dream goes is wisdom or ignorance, is a wisdom. And it happens when? Inside dream, outside dream, outside the dream. And what's the outcome? The fear dissolves. So, how to get this realization? The dream goes as the dream goes, by waking up. So, this is where the Buddha is revered as the fully awakened one. We all can be as well be awakened. So the Buddha is teaching us how to be awakened, given the metaphor that everything is like the play of your mind, like the reflection, right? The reflection in the beryl, the crystal, and the reflection in the dream. Okay. It is as follows, Manjushri. Imagine that the wise earth were made entirely of the beryl, so that in the beryl one could see reflections of the aboard the 33. 33 meaning the heaven. 33, the heaven by the label 33 of Sakara, Lord of Gods, and of his palace of victory. And so you see all these reflections in there. And imagine Sakara, Lord of the God, could be seen there playing and enjoying himself with the five divine objects of pleasure. So you are just seeing the reflection there, and eventually you think that this is real. Okay, 1.22. Okay, 1.22. However, those beings would not understand that this would merely be a reflection in the wide earth of the beryl. And you're watching this inside, and you see this so real. Just in the dream, you see the contents of the dream, and you see it so real. You don't see them as a reflection. However, those beings would not understand that this would merely be a reflection in the wider earth of beryl, a reflection occurring due to the complete purity of the beryl, because the reflection is happening because the beryl, the crystal is so clear. If it is very dusty, murky, or if it is the greasy, then reflection will not happen, because it's so clear, reflections beautifully happen. Wherein above the 33, along with the Sakara, the Lord of the Gods, and his palace of victory could be seen. Wishing for this state of Sakara, they would then offer gifts. Say, you as a person, outside this beryl, huge beryl crystal, and you saw all these reflections there, you see them as real. And then you wishing the state of Sakara, you would then offer gifts to make merits. They would take up discipline and abide by that. They would then dedicate the roots of what is wholesome. This is known as root of virtue, toward birth in that reflection of the abode of the 33, Manjushri. In the wider earth of beryl, there would, of course, be no abode of the 30. It's just reflection. There's no objectively real abode of the 33, and neither would there be a palace of victory or Sakara, Lord of the Gods. However, due to the purity of the great beryl, the abode of the 33, along with the palace of victory and Sakara, the Lord of the Gods, would all be visible. Non-existent, non-arising, and non-ceased. Their reflections would be seen because of the period of the great beryl, not because of the objective existence. Okay, the next 1.32. 1.32. Now this may give us a feeling that okay, it's like a reflection. There's nothing really there. Okay, when I say there's nothing really there, you fall into nihilism. So how to stop you from nihilism is by understanding that there's no objective reality there, but they exist by dependent origination. Dependent origination is to be understood. So it says that it is as follows, Manjushri. At the end of the summertime, during the first month of rains, due to the maturation of sentient beings, now look, but dependent on these multiple factors, then things happen. There's no objective reality there, but dependence on multiple factors. We, due to the maturation of sentient beings, previous karma, and to generate out of the multitudes of seeds and elements, all the grass, thickets, the medicinal herbs and trees on earth, wind begin to blow in the atmosphere of the sky above, then water comes about due to that wind, and it falls on the great earth. Thus, the great earth is satisfied, and all sentient beings in Jambudvipa are joyful and happy. Referring to this, the notion of a cloud comes about in the world. Manjushri, whenever not much rain falls from the atmosphere, so when these factors are absent, then the joy and happiness disappears. Okay, now let's go to 1.33. However, Manjushri, when this happens, there's neither cloud. So these things happen by dependent origin. Independent, objectively, there's nothing there. There's no independently. There's no cloud, nor anything that can be designated as a cloud. Manjushri, a large mass of water is generated by the wind and then falls from the atmosphere above. Manjushri, the mass of water disappears in the atmosphere itself due to the ripening of the sentient being's previous karma. Okay, so next move to 1.35. Okay. On the other hand, at Manjushri, the appearance of the Tathagatha satisfies and entertains the world, including the gods, through the Dharma, and then due to the ripening of the previous karma. Look, it's not nothingness. It's not nothingness. When you say emptiness, it doesn't mean nothingness. It is dependent origination. It's empty of independent reality. If things are not independent real, how do they exist? They exist dependently. So this is what we need to know, that when we say emptiness, it should not be understood as nothingness. Oftentimes people can easily interpret that as nothingness. For example, I remember having met with when we teach on emptiness, and I come across people who are studying Western philosophy, and they say that, oh, Nagarjuna is nihilist, is idealist. They read Nagarjuna's text only for 1 hour or like 20 minutes, and they become very conclusive for saying that Nagarjuna is nihilist or idealist. This is very sad on their part. Is bad on their part, for the reason that this is disservice to themselves, because they are putting a dead end for them to read Nagarjuna, understand Nagarjuna more in depth. The great masters, they study Nagarjuna's thoughts for like 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And merely when they hear Nagarjuna's name, goosebumps come in the body. This is the depth of the understanding that they got. And just reading Nagarjuna's text for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes and says nihilist, this is very unfortunate on their part. Okay, so to understand emptiness, it should be seen as emptiness equals dependent origination. Let's not forget it. Say emptiness should be understood as nothingness. Emptiness should be understood. Emptiness equals dependent origination. And dependent origination equals middle way. This is so important for us to know. Let me repeat it. Emptiness equals dependent origination. And dependent origination equals the middle way. When I say A equals B, B equals C, your job is to tell me, you mean to say A equals C? Yes. Likewise, emptiness equals dependent origination. And dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, your job is to tell me that you mean to say emptiness equals the middle way. Yes, it is not nihilism, it is middle way. How? For this, we need to understand how emptiness equals dependent origination. For this, we need to understand 5 points. First, emptiness. Emptiness. Number 2, emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Let me repeat it. Number 1, emptiness. Number 2, emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number 3, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 3, nothing exists independently. Number 4, nothing exists independently means everything exists dependently. Everything exists dependently. Number 5, everything exists dependently means everything is dependently originated. So with these 5 points, we deduce that emptiness equals dependent origination. Next, dependent origination equals the middle way. How? Again, dependent origination has 2 sides, dependence and origination. First, dependence. Dependence means not independent. It rejects independence. So independence and absolutism, these two mean the same. It's absolute, it's independent, these two mean the same. So when you say dependent, it rejects the extreme of absolutism. Other side is origination. When it's origination, it means something comes into origination, something comes into existence. When it says something comes into existence, what's the opposite of existence? Non-existence, nihilism. When it's origination, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. So dependence, it rejects the extreme of absolutism. Origination, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. Now bringing the two together, dependent origination together, rejects the two extremes. Rejecting the two extremes is following the middle way. So this is how we understand the say dependent origination equals the middle way. Now, bringing the two together, emptiness equals dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way, not nihilism. Only if you understand this, you have understood emptiness. Otherwise, we get some gross idea of emptiness, and you say, oh, nothing exists, everything's empty. It's a great disservice to yourself. You're putting a dead end to your uncovering your beautiful Buddha energy inside. And the nihilism and absolutism, these two extremes are the worst of the obstructions to your Buddha nature from awakening. Okay, so with this 1.35. On the other hand, Manjushri, the appearance of Tathagatha satisfied entity in this world, including gods through the Dhamma, and then due to the ripening of the previous karma of beginner bodhisattvas and immature, ordinary people who are guided by means of nirvana, it appears that the Tathagata is no more to be seen. They think that Tathagata is passed into complete nirvana. However, Manjushri, the Tathagata neither arises nor ceases. The Tathagata Manjushri is non-arising, non-ceasing. From Manjushri, the Tathagata Arahat, the perfect and complete Buddha, is primordially in complete nirvana. Okay, let's move to, this is about dependent origination. Let's move to 1.37. It is as follows, Manjushri, every day the great and the unsurpassed Brahma, who controls 10 the Trichiliocosms, looks upon Trichiliocosm in the Buddhist cosmology. That is what is known as the world. The world, say the whole one system, the whole universe. For example, in modern science, we talk about solar system, and then we talk about the galaxies, then we talk about the whole universe. So in the Buddhist the cosmology, there is a concept of what is known as the whole system, the world system, consisting of 3,000 worlds, and that continue like to again multiply by 3,000 and takes to infinity. So this one set of 3,000 world systems is known as Trichiliocosms. Looks upon all the classes of gods as far as the class of the gods and the four great kings. At that time, Manjushri, by the great Brahma who controls 10 Trichiliocosms, looks upon all the classes of gods. They all abandon the games of pleasure, delights, and enjoyments. They stop playing the percussion instruments and whole day singing, shifting their attention from the games for pleasure and delights. They respectfully fold their hands and look toward the great Brahma without blinking. For a moment, the great Brahma offers sight of himself to all the classes of gods. At that time, the gods all are long to be born in the world of the great Brahma and dedicate the roots of what is wholesome toward taking birth in the world of the great Brahma. This is talking about the dependent origination, how dependently things originate, and dependent origination is very much visible. Let's turn to page 1.39. So although these things are on subjective level, but objectively, what is there? Objectively, even the Brahma is also empty. Objectively empty, subjectively, the Brahma exists. Still, Manjushri, no Brahma is there to be found, meaning that objectively, no, there's no Brahma. Manjushri, Brahma is empty, dependent. So look, empty meaning empty of independent, because they're dependent, unreal, because they're subjectively seen, without syllables, without voice, without place, and also not an existing thing. So this is subjectively things operate cause dependent origination. Objectively, things are all empty. Let's turn to page 1.40. 1.39, second paragraph, last paragraph. Yet Manjushri, paragraph. Yet Manjushri, those gods do not think that Brahma is an emanation. He's empty, dependent on. So although the reality is there's no object reality there, but the other gods, they don't think that the Brahma is empty of independent reality. Brahma is empty of object reality. They see him as real. This is deception which binds us in samsara. 1.42. Then at the time the Bhagavad spoke the following two verses. That tathagatha always has the quality of non-arising. So this is now the meaning of the non-arising. Manjushri asked, began the setting by asking the question, the Buddha, what's the meaning of non-arising? Non-arising, what's the meaning of non-cessation? Which the Buddha so oftentimes taught was meaning. So he says that Tathagata always has a quality of non-arising, meaning there's non-arising objectively. Dependently, things exist. And all dharmas resemble the Sugata. Yet immature minds, like the ordinary beings who are trapped in samsara, by the grasping at objective signs, roam the world, meaning they revolve around the cycle around the world, the samsara, among non-existent dharmas. The Tathagata is a reflected image of the wholesome dharma without, and yet there is no Tathagata, no Tathata, and no Tathagata. While an image is seen in the entire world, everything is like an image, everything is like a reflection, everything is like a dream. Okay, next. 1.74. 1.74. Oh, thank you. 1.74. Thank you. Okay, the four distortions. Okay, now look, cause and effect. Again, it's not that nothing exists, nothing exists at all. Things do exist, they don't exist objectively. They don't arise subjectively. They don't cease objectively. Subjectively, everything is operating. So now the cause and effect, law of karma is there. Okay, the four distortions are a cause of afflictions. The four placements of mindfulness are a cause of purification. Look, so where the distortions happen, afflictions happen, miseries happen. Where the mindfulness, the four placements of mindfulness of body, feeling, mind, and phenomena. So these mindfulness virtues arise, then the afflictions dissolve, and your miseries stop. Cause and effect. Same. There's truth of suffering, there's truth of cause of suffering, there's cause and effect there. There's truth of cessation, there's truth of the path leading to cessation. Again, a cause and effect is taught there. So cause and effect with non-virtues, cause and effect with virtues. Cause and effect of non-virtues will give rise to miseries. Cause and effect of the virtues will give rise to happiness. So the efficacy of cause and effect is taught in verse number 174. While objectively, because cause and effect is feasible, objectively things are all independently, and things are all empty of objective reality. Okay, 1.99. 1.99. Then the youthful Manjushri rose from his seat. Okay, so now what happened is that the okay. Then the Buddha having taught that everything is a dream. Then what happened was that Manjushri then finally stood up. Then the youthful Manjushri rose from his seat, folded his upper robe, and placed his right knee on the ground, folding his hands in the direction of the Bhagavad. He praised him with these verses. You have no color, sign or shape, meaning objectively, even the Tathagata does not exist objectively. You have no color, even Tathagata, I have no objective color, sign, or shape, no cessation or origination, no root and no ground, and no to stand upon. And you're free of any point of reference. I bow to you, the Buddha. So because you are objectively empty, subjectively you manifest in the form of the omniscient being to benefit all the beings. Okay, so then we go up 1 point, okay, let's say one, oh yes, down, 1.150. 150. Stop, 150. My scroll center. Oh, I bet chomras. Mare. Oh, 1.150. What is that? Oh, 네. 1.150. 2 lesson. 15. Oh, that is. Okay. So now here, the benefit of the teaching on emptiness. It says, Manjushri, imagine that a Bodhisattva, great being, were to fill the great Trichiliocosm with 7 precious substances and offer it as a gift to the Buddhas, the Bhagavats. Offering on in this way, he would give this gift for as many eons as there are atomic particles of dust in a great Trichiliocosm. But another Bodhisattva may teach just a 4-line stanza from this Dharma method to emptiness. To another Bodhisattva, compared to the merit, he would produce. The production of merit in the first instance would not even amount to 100 part. It would not even account for 1,000, 1 billion of it. It would not even be approximation of any kind. So look, this is a benefit. So the Buddha oftentimes compared the 2 bodhisattvas, one bodhisattva who generated bodhicitta and who became a bodhisattva since many eons, but without the wisdom of emptiness. And today, as somebody generates bodhicitta freshly to become a bodhisattva today, become a beginner bodhisattva, but with the wisdom of emptiness, Buddha indicated that this merit accumulated by this bodhisattva, who just freshly become bodhisattva today, but with because of the wisdom of emptiness, the merit that he or she accumulates far excels all the amount of the merits accumulated by other bodhisattva without the wisdom of emptiness, although the person accumulated merit for the innumerable eons. So this is the difference. So with this in mind, all these verses, all these lines now from here down is comparing the different bodhisattvas and what the supersedes, to which bodhisattva supersedes the other bodhisattva on what ground. So finally, there's a mention of the 4 levels of a bodhisattva giving teaching to lead somebody to the stream entry level, one's returner level, no more return level, to the arhat level, to the bodhicitta, to the bodhisattva level, and within the bodhisattva, the beginner bodhisattva, irreversible bodhisattvas, and finally to Buddha. So there, every time your teaching, the greater the capacity that you have to lead the other person from the comparison with the lower level, if you're able to lead to the high level, the merit that you accumulate is far what excels others. So this is all these lines, all these are the points, the paragraphs, they are to indicate that which of the practice of bodhisattvas will excel, which other practices done by another bodhisattvas. Okay, so finally we jump to point 1.62. 1.62. Last, just go to the end. Okay, good. 1. What is this? Okay, there's one section, 1.62. Check. 1.64, check. 1.64. Thank you. 1.64. Yes. So I like to read this. I don't know whether it's 1.64. Okay. Maybe it's my wrong numbering. It may be 1.162. Sorry. 1.164. 1.164. 1.164. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Then at that time, the Bhagavan spoke the following verse. Okay, I like to read all these verses and you try to understand the meaning. It's quite self-explanatory. In the final term, at the times of decay, a bodhisattva may uphold the good dharma of the 100 million Buddhas. Yet, if another listens with reverence to this sutra on emptiness, his merit or her merit will be great and exceed the former. So the translator is that as his. In Tibetan, there is no this gender, his or her. Because in English, if you don't add this, then the sentence will be incomplete. So the translator added his. So actually in Tibetan, is gender neutral. His or her merit will be great and exceed the former. And when I was Cambridge, I learned instead of his and her, just write it their merit. This will make it gender neutral. Their merit will be great and exceed the former, because this is very important. But there's a tendency that we slide towards something always masculine, always the male gender. So it should be gender neutral, because that the Buddha said that both the male, female, they all have the same Buddha nature, same power. It's not that the males are superior. Sometimes this is the tendency from the past. I say the Kubat, very past, backward thinking. 1.165. By using one's own special powers, someone may travel through the 10 directions and worship 100 million Buddhas, eliciting compassion, not craving for any pleasure. They may then salute all of those sacred persons. Yet, if for just a brief moment, another teaches others this sutra, that points to the Dhamma of the victorious ones and keeps their mind well disposed towards the Sugata's teaching, the fruit of their merit will exceed the former. The Sugata taught the sutra, a lamp for gods and men. Whoever makes this visible to others will have a sharp wisdom and great strength and quickly reach the level of the Buddhas. A person might hear and then tell someone else the news that the Buddhas, the best among men, have attained complete nirvana without any remainder. He or she may establish tall, the beautiful stupas, beautified with fine gems to the summit of existence, with pedestals, standards, and the sounds of bells. They would arise to the summit of the existence. Yet, when hearing this very sutra, a bodhisattva may form the wish to establish it well, either within their body, within a book, then the fruit of their merit exceeds the former. If a bodhisattva upholds his dharma, remove all stains of miserliness of being without fear, their merit will indeed be immeasurable, and they shall obtain the awakening in accordance with their wish. The sutra is extolled by the Sugatas and upheld, Sugatas meaning the Buddhas, and upheld by many Bodhisattvas. Here the body of the Tathagatas, Bodhisattva means the Buddhakayas, like the space element, is shown to all. Thus spoke the Bhagavad joyfully, the Bodhisattva are Manjushri, and the Bodhisattva, great beings who had assembled from all the infinite, limitless world spheres of the 10 directions, along with the great hearers and the world with his gods, humans, demigods, and Gandharvas rejoice at the Bhagavad's teachings. This completes the Noble Manu Sutra, Ornament of the Light of Awareness, that answers the domain of all Buddhas. Okay, so we're done. So with this in mind, what I will conclude is that yes, we'll have questions session, and I would like to conclude that finally in this life we have to make sure that and that you and I, not just you, me also included, we all must put effort to get a glimpse of emptiness. And for this, we really need to have a systematic study of this. Otherwise, it's not possible. Because these concepts, the reason why the Buddha remained silent for 49 days, and in the first place, without understanding this concept, then that we are in the dream. In the dream, we have no freedom to choose the dream. And the dream decides what you're going through, what you're going to go through. And what kind of dreams? For example, like we never know. Today, you're born in a good family. You're born with a very healthy body. You're born in a good environment. But we never know. We can be born in the war-torn zones. We can be born as animals, insects. We can be born in the place where we are being hijacked, kidnapped, so forth. We just have to live in the nightmare. It's very possible. So we're all dictated by the wave of the karma, with the karma of the dream. So if you really don't want to think about these, or if you really want to get away from, be free from these tears of the suffering, wake up. How to wake up? Realize emptiness. How to realize emptiness? It's not that easy, because we can easily fall into nihilism. It's for this reason that the Buddha remained silent for 49 days without giving any teachings. For 49 days, to indicate that this is not an easy thing. We have to put effort. Same to just complete high school, effort requires less. To complete PhD, we require a lot of effort, dedication, commitment. Likewise, to get rid of a very small ignorance is all easy. To get rid of the chronic disease of the ignorance, it requires a lot of effort. So what kind of effort required is short-term plan and long-term plan. Short-term plan, try as much as possible to stay away from non-virtuous karmas, non-virtuous actions, physical, verbal, and mental. You and me, all of us, because we don't want suffering. You don't want suffering. You don't want to shed tears. I don't want to shed tears. So our job, the first thing that we have to do is stay. These sufferings are because of the negativities, negative physical, verbal, and mental actions. So these are to be stayed away from. This is the immediate cause of these tears. Now, how to stop these karmas? It's not that easy. Try your best to stay away from this. Meanwhile, go for a long-term solution to track the cause of this, track the cause of the undesirable physical, verbal, mental actions, the motivations, our afflictions, attachment, anger, jealousy, and so forth. And the first thing that you do is that start shouting at your family members in your house. Charity begins at home. This is so important. Stop shouting at your mother. Stop shouting at your wife, at your husband, or to your children, and so forth. At your home, start from there. That is the one thing that we have to do. Practice compassion. Then the next is go a little deeper, because it's ignorance. Ignorance can be gone into by the wisdom. Wisdom we should train. We have to study more deeply, and then think of how to get into the inappropriate attention. And finally, then touch the wisdom to eradicate the root of the afflictions, which is self-grasping ignorance. For that, we really need to have a study program. So what we suggest is that all the participants here, it doesn't matter which tradition, Theravada tradition, Chinese tradition, Tibetan Buddhism, within Tibetan Buddhism, Sakya, Kagyu, Nyingma, Gelun, there's no difference. Make sure that we study something, keep studying something. We need to have a short-term plan, long-term plan. Short-term plan, stay away from the negative actions as much as possible. Mitigate the power of our affliction to the best possible. So think of 4 seals, impermanent. Think of the misery nature of samsara, and then study more of the emptiness. And for the emptiness, particularly for the emptiness, go for a systematic studies. It's not just 1 week teaching, 10-day teaching. It will not help. We have to study for years and years. Study, practice, study, practice. These two should go hand in hand. Only then we can have the hope to stop the tears. One is not about what tradition that you're following, it's about your well-being, it's about my well-being, your well-being. Is to stop the tears, your tears, stop the tears of your family members, stop the tears of the sentient beings, stop the tears of the world. So this is what is the Buddha's teachings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la. So now we will open up for question and answers. Geshe-la, there are two questions by the audience. One is from Renu Praditya. Geshe-la, is that true that is that true then that the Buddha Buddha nature according to Gelug is just dependently originated / empty of inherent existence, like reflection in beryl, just like other things, right? Thank you.
Okay, so therefore, at the time of Buddha, there's no Gelug. Let's not forget it. We're not studying Gelug. We are studying Buddha's teachings. We are not studying Gelug. We are not thinking of the practicing to stop the tears of Gelug. We are just stopping the tears of samsara, tears of Buddhists, non-Buddhists, males, females, everyone. Oh, I want to Gelug happiness. I want Sakya happiness. No, I want happiness. Let's not forget it. So these are, say, for example, they say, I'm studying Indian quantum physics. I'm studying American quantum physics. No, quantum physics is quantum physics. If you don't understand quantum physics as taught by Niels Bohr, but you're studying the quantum physics according to Indian, Japanese, whatever, you have not understood quantum physics. So our job is never get stuck with the branches. Go to the root. Root is the Buddha. Let's not forget it. The Buddha nature is not taught by the Gelupas. Buddha nature is not taught by Sakya, Kagyu, Nyingma. They are taught by the Buddha himself. These traditions are to be used as a platform to jump to the Buddha's teachings. This is so important. Oftentimes, this is very unfortunate, where we forget the root, we cling to the branches. This is a very unfortunate thing. So think of the Buddha nature according to what the Buddha taught. Buddha taught the Buddha nature, particularly of the three turnings will of Dharma, third turning will of Dharma. So don't say what the Gelug taught. No, there's no Gelug at the time of the Buddha. At the time of the Buddha, there are so many people who become enlightened without Gelug, Satya, Nyingma, Kagyu. So therefore, we have to identify these are the systems to be used as platform based on which you jump to the Buddha's teachings. This is my request to all of you, to make sure that you understand Buddha's teachings, not Gelug teaching, not Sakya teaching, not Nyingma teaching. Understand the Buddha's teachings, to stop your tears, not to stop Gelug tears. Stop your tears. Don't forget it.
Thank you, Geshe-la. That was a wonderful answer. So the second question from someone is, besides studying and trying to have intellectual understanding, have an compassionate vehicle, what else can we do to realize emptiness?
Okay, so if someone, I don't want to study, I want to know quantum physics. I don't want to study. Study is very complicated. Can I do some practice? Can I go to serve the Niels Bohr and his attendant and then realize quantum physics? No, impossible. If you say usually when people come to me, sometimes my friends, when we meet somewhere outside Delhi, people say, okay, you stay in Delhi. They tell, my friends, they introduce another of their friend to me, saying that, oh, Geshe-la's in Delhi. You go there to Tibet house to study. Geshe-la's there. So I said that don't make things boring. So that person, whoever you are, welcome to Tibet house. Come and tell me, what do you want? What do you want? You want a cup of tea? Have a cup of tea with me and go. And you want to go to look at the museum? Go to the museum, have a cup of tea, go to the museum and leave. What do you want? If you're not interested in Dharma, Don't push yourself. Whatever you're interested, don't harm others, don't harm yourself. And then if you're interested to stop the tears, then you have to study emptiness. If you don't want to stop the tears, it's okay. Sometimes tears, sometimes laugh, it's fine, it's good. Then it's fine. Go have tea and leave. So what the point is that it's not about, say, it's not about what you want, it's about what you want. You want to understand emptiness or you don't want to understand emptiness? If you don't want to understand emptiness, which means you don't want to stop the tears of samsara, that's fine, that's up to you. And sometimes the samsara, it is three kinds of suffering, suffering change like a bait, a delicious food. Delicious food will continue to attract more tears. For example, how the families are created. Online datings happen. What is online dating? It's very nice. Online dating, particularly at the time of the online dating period, they're so beautiful, it's like a bait. And then you actually go there, meet. When you meet, then you find divorce, instant, very next to divorce. So this is where, if you don't want to study emptiness, if you don't want to understand emptiness, then it's a different story. If you want to understand emptiness, you have to study. Let us not deceive ourselves. We have to study this. And study, don't think that is complicated. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. You may think that, oh no, study, I'm not good in studies. You are underestimating yourself. Don't forget it. You have the Buddha nature. You too have the Buddha nature. Just as Buddha's Buddha nature is awakened. His Holiness the Dalai Lama's Buddha nature is awakened. You too have a Buddha nature. Awaken it. I bring to you the, let's say, that I bring to you aeroplane. Aeroplane is a huge object. You may see that this huge object, how can it fly? Look at this beautiful aeroplane flying. My aeroplane is on the grounded. It's not flying. It can't even move. It requires another car to pull it. When will it move? When will it fly? No, it's hopeless. No. Don't expect this aeroplane to just take off a sudden flight. It has to first move 1 kilometer per hour. First, it has to be dragged by somebody, another car. Then, once it is put in the track, don't expect it to fly like 1,000 kilometers per hour. It will fly 1 kilometer per hour, 2 kilometers per hour, 3 kilometers per hour. This is how it gradually picks up. Don't underestimate your potential. Samsara is not a pleasant grove. Let's not forget it. You and I, we all have to remember that samsara is not a pleasant grove. For the time being, you may be healthy, I may be healthy. But one day, you look at the people who are bedridden for years and years. We never know who's next, me or you. We never know. This is not a pleasant thing. And the only solution, whether you like it or not, is the wisdom of emptiness. And the wisdom of emptiness, you have to study it. For example, when there's a tumor inside a body, nobody wants to even have a prick, even have a needle pricking. But when there's tumor, for a greater good, you have to even go through open heart surgery. You have to do that. So wisdom of emptiness is so precious. Meanwhile, this open heart surgery, surgery is very painful from the beginning till the end. But the wisdom of emptiness at the beginning is a little difficult. Later on, it's full of fun. It's so beautiful. Why are you underestimating yourself? Don't ever underestimate yourself. Nobody can fail you. Only you can fail you. When you fail yourself, when you say that I cannot do, that is the greatest of failure. Nobody can fail you. So therefore, don't underestimate yourself. You too have a Buddha nature. Don't forget it.
Thank you, Geshe-la. So the next question is from Siring Dolma. She's asking, Geshe-la, when we say absolute does not exist, can you elaborate on absolute?
Thank you. In English, there are several words: absolute existence, objective existence, true existence, ultimate existence, and the existence by one's own characteristics, and so forth. So the one thing, absolute has connotation of objective. If we begin with the objective, that makes things easy for me. Objective existence, for example, like say the in dream, there's so much of fear of seeing the dream ghost. You wake up and the fear dissolves. Why the fear dissolves? By realizing that the dream ghost is not objectively real. It's just mentally subjectively created. Objectively as opposed to subjective. The dream ghost subjectively created. So this is the connotation of subjective, no objective. No objective, no absolute. No absolute reality. For example, when you say, oh, this is absolutely right, perfectly right, independently right. So absolute is connotation of something very objective. So 2 + 3 = 5. It's absolutely right. So it's not like, okay, how is the flower? It's beautiful, not flower. So the Dibaji said, this is beautiful. I say, it's not beautiful. And third person said, we ask, is it beautiful or not? We ask the third person, it depends. But 2 + 3 = 5. I said, it's 7. I said, Diba says it's 7. And I say, it's 7-ish. Who's right? But other people say that Diba is perfectly right. You're perfectly wrong. So we see that perfectly right, absolutely right, has a connotation which it's not subjective. Whereas when I say, is it beautiful, not beautiful, it's subjective. So likewise, the Buddha indicated that everything is subjective, no absolute, no absolute, no objective. So this is the meaning of the objective. Next question is, how do we know there's no absolute reality? This is a very serious question. I would suggest each one of us. Okay, let me give you just a simple example. Let's say that there's no absolute reality, or there's no objective reality. Let's say that how many of you are, say, 30 years and below? 30 years or 30 or below. So you all raise your hands, those who are, and you are very happy. Those people who are not in this category, they're very little sad. In the Geshe-la is saying that you are old. So, including myself. Whereas those people who are 30 and below, they're very happy, or we're young. But keep in mind that there's 2 classes, 30 and below and 31 and above. So these 2 classes, the 2 groups there, 30 and below are the younger than, absolutely younger than those, the 31 and above. Answer is, you will say yes, but it's not absolutely the younger. How? We see them as younger. This is all based on the perception level, just like illusion. How illusion? Do you agree with me that age, people say age is a number? No, I don't agree with this. I'm not 16 years old. I'm 50 plus. I'm not 16 years old. It's not just a number. Just to make other people happy, then they say age is a number. Okay, so the reality is that I'm 50 plus. I'm not 16. My body is not flexible as what it used to be when I was 16. It's not flexible. That's 100% sure. We cannot deny this reality. But still, it is not absolutely real in ways that body age is nothing. Age is based on the body, not the mind. And the body is nothing but made of cells. And the cells are nothing but made of molecules. And the molecules are made of atoms. And the atoms are made of electrons, protons, neutrons. Considering this, we see that our age is nothing but based on the electrons, protons, neutrons. And the electrons, protons, neutrons of the 16-year-old child and electrons, protons, neutrons of the 50-year person like me. These electrons, protons, neutrons, they don't have age difference. They are all equally 15 billion years. No one electron is younger, no one electron is older. All the electrons, protons, neutrons are same age, 15 years, 15 billion years old. So on that level, we're nothing but made of these things. They're all same age. So on that level, Objectively, we see that it's just same age, but subjectively, we see difference. Young one with a very flexible body, old one with a very rigid body. There's a difference there. Subjectively, there's difference, but objectively, absolutely, on the absolute level, there's no difference. It's just say the perception. On the perception level, there's the difference, but on the objective level, there's no difference. So there's no absolute reality. There's no objective reality there. And of course, this is a very interesting topic. Explore, you keep exploring of the Buddha nature, and you understand this, unlike the surgery. Surgery from A to Z is painful. But the surgery of the self-grasping ignorance, from A with a little pain, and then it becomes happier, more fun. It's an amazingly beautiful journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Geshe-la, next question is from Fiona Ling. She's asking, how does the aspirational bodhisattva vow complement study and realization of emptiness?
Okay, this is very important. Aspiration Bodhisattva, this is so precious. That would be wonderful if we can take the Aspiration Bodhisattva vow on a daily basis. This is so precious. So it makes you like a mother. Say, I come across some mothers, young mothers, who were actually hopeless in studies when they were in school days, during the school days. Dibba, what about you? Okay, I'm not too sure. Okay, so what I'm saying is that I have met many young mothers who were hopeless in their studies when they were in the school. Then they give birth to a child, and the child has to be taught 2 plus simple mathematics. The mother is to learn, no excuse. No, I failed in my mathematics. The mother also learns. The mother teaches the child. And gradually the child grows to age the 9, 10, solar system. The mother's learning the solar system. Mother's learning solar system. The 9 planets or the 8 planets. Sometimes you have to kick out Pluto. Sometimes you have to include Pluto. But depending on what scientists say, you have to keep updated. Keep updated. So mothers learn that. And gradually the child reaches class 9, 10, 11. Then the mother has to learn calculus. Then derivatives. Mother has to learn all these things. So mother just gave up when in school days, she gave up. But with the child, she never gives up. She becomes older, but she's still learning everything. Why? Her knowledge increases. Not for her own knowledge, but help the child. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all the children like small or sentient beings. For them, I have to do something. What should I do? I have to teach them how to get away, how to remove the tears, how to teach to get rid of the tears, teach them how to stop the cause of the tears, this ignorance. How to teach that? Teach the wisdom. What is the wisdom? I have to learn it myself. To teach first, I have to learn it. So this aspiration, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all the children like the sentient beings, that will greatly drive you to awaken your own Buddha nature. It's amazing, so precious. So therefore the Buddha taught the Bodhisattvas, they don't have to learn many things. If they have one thing in the hand, in the palm of the hand, everything will be automatically drawn towards the palm. And what is that one thing? What the rhetorically indicated is a great compassion. Is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la. It's very related. Okay, next question is from Kinle Gemo. How can I apply this teaching in the modern world?
Okay, this is a good question. I would say that if you are a young person in school, colleges, universities, don't neglect your university studies. Don't neglect your career building studies. They are very important. Meanwhile, they give yourself like half an hour or 1 hour every day to keep in touch with the Buddha's teachings, with the Buddha's teaching on the compassion and the wisdom. So your modern studies will help you to live in the world, and Buddha's the teachings will help us to give joy, insight, and to give joy inside, not only in this life, to keep increasing this joy as you grow older, and then eventually it helps us to the next lives. This is so important. So there's no the two things, the modern lifestyle and the Buddha's teachings. These two are not to be seen as dichotomous. These two are extremely complementary to each other. So that for example, like His Holiness, just see that His Holiness with the modern scientists. Even the scientists, they are amazed to see His Holiness's openness and the readiness to learn modern science and actually having the capacity, incredible intelligence, the brilliance to grab the scientific concepts so quickly. And with the Dharma practitioners, they see that he is at the pinnacle of the experience realizations. And then with the mundane politicians, these politicians, they become like a small child in front of His Holiness. Because His Holiness thinks so pure and so comprehensive, so wide, broad, and they think so narrow. Me, my country, my this, my seat. His Holiness is very broad, so they feel themselves like a small child in front of His Holiness. So there's no the dichotomy between the two. These two can go hand in hand in ways that don't neglect your studies, your livelihood, whatever. Meanwhile, make sure that you're happy. And the true happiness within you will be given to you by understanding of the four seals of the Buddha's teachings. Always remembering all things are impermanent. When you think that things are permanent, then the rage, fight, selfishness, they all will creep in, which will destroy your peace of mind. Finally, all these things, the livelihood that you are working to earn as a part of the modern world, this is meant for your happiness. This is meant for your ease. And it should not destroy your ease. So what will guarantee that these will be of the facilitators for your ease is the Buddha's teachings of contemplation, impermanence, dukkha, and the emptiness. And above all, the compassion, universal compassion, is so precious.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Now we are going for the last question. So this person is asking that this person is facing an issue on her sleep schedule for almost a year. The person cannot control her brain, especially when she's about to sleep. She or he, I don't know. She's tried meditation, yoga, and all, but cannot focus the brain to one thing at all. Please help, Geshe-la.
Okay. The first thing is that it's very important. For example, let's say that we have the insomnia. The sleep problem is insomnia, problem of the insomnia, where you cannot have a proper sleep and your mind is wandering all the time. And we have to check the reason for that. Primarily, the reason can be, in most cases, it can be worries. There's some worry behind, some worry or some anxiety behind, some expectations, worries. When the expectations are not met, then turns into worry. So when that is there, when it is deep, then it can affect your sleep. You can suffer from insomnia. So that's so important to identify what that worry is. And if possible, it's extremely important you identify that so well and don't keep it confidential. Don't keep it secret. Share it with somebody, a wise person, a wise and compassionate person. Compassion meaning somebody who will not judge you. You'll feel comfortable to share. You must share with that person, number one. And that person must be wise. If the person is not wise, the person may give you advice which can be detrimental rather than be of any help. The person must be wise. It's not necessary that person should be a doctor, but the person should have openness. This person should have intelligence to say, if you have a the problem because you are so infatuated with your with the family thing. And the person, although does not have any experience of the family, still can refer to a very good family. And you can go to this person will help you. And you go there and it's a magic happens. And oftentimes these worries, they're all relative. For example, let's say in India, if there's a person who earns only about like 5,000 rupees per month, and suddenly you get a job which pays you 20,000, is amazing. The person will be extremely happy. And the next day, person discovers that his schoolmate is earning 1 lakh rupees. Then 20,000 is nothing. And you become so sad. So what is 20,000 salary? Is good or bad? In comparison with 5,000, it's so good. In comparison with 1 lakh, it's so small. This is reality. So say, oftentimes, whereas for you, say, money is the main thing, then it can affect your dream. It can affect your sleep. Whereas for you, I should be happy going for 1 lakh rupees. There's so much work, deadlines, and the worries, anxiety, no time for food. Why should this not livelihood? This is like that I'm not the donkey, but I have a life. My life should be, this money is for my happiness. I'm not getting happiness there. I'm getting happiness with 200,000. I have ease of mind. And the person does, the people, my colleagues, they're very kind. And being kind itself is healing, is a medicine for me. And this medicine would cost me, if I were to go for 1 lakh rupees per month, with so much attention, stress, my health is in danger. With this help, to recuperate this health, again, I require another 20 lakhs rupees, which doesn't make any sense. So this is where you use the wisdom. So with the wisdom, a wise person can teach you the wisdom. This wisdom can change your thinking pattern. This thinking pattern can make your situation so light. And this light feeling will give back to will bring the synaptic connections in a proper way. That will make you have a sound sleep. So you have to identify the root cause. Make sure that you share this with somebody who is very loving, caring, and caring, and that person should be a wise person. This is so important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la, for your wisdom and sharing and always being so compassionate. It's so inspiring to learn from you, Geshe-la. Thank you so much. And I would like to end this with a dedication prayer, Geshe-la. Just whatever you taught, whatever I could extract. Um, Thank you, everyone, and may we all sincerely aspire to supplicate the source, just as Geshe-la taught us. So today, as we have all the causes and conditions to listen to the words of the Buddha with the comfort from our homes, let us all dedicate our merits to all those who are in the war zones, especially children suffering from hunger and malnutrition, which is man made. May they all receive nutrition and all necessary supplies to life. May all wars are stopped and peace, love, and kindness prevail in the entire world. May everyone's pain is stopped and may all receive the perfect love and kindness. May all wake up from the sleep of ignorance to experience the direct reality and wisdom taught by the Buddha and embody the perfect love, compassion, and wisdom taught by the Buddha. Thank you so much, Geshe-la, for your precious teachings. And I would like to request all of you, if you wish to stay updated, I'm sure all of you are already connected. So, to stay updated on the upcoming teachings, news, and events, you can follow us on social media or visit our website at 84000.co. So, we wish you all the best and take care, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much, Geshe-la.
Devaji, we will end with the praise to Buddha Shakyamuni 3 times,
Sure.
which my colleague Pemba will screen share, and everybody can join us.
Sure, Geshe-la. Thank you.
Well,
Geshe-la, you will read.
Okay. In fact, this text, there is a recording of the chanting. So we will do the
Okay, Geshe-la.
Okay, so chanting will be done with the recording. Everybody will join us.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Deepaji, and thank you all the participants, all the translators, and all the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.